welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons, and critically fumble a lot. Previously, the Cupcake Coterie have some business in Anbir, still, again, more. They only came to attempt to liberate the Protector Aasimar. That worked until it didn't, and now almost all of the Protector Aasimar, except for the one in their party, are dead. As are most of the Scourge Aasimar, except for two very young ones. It's not an ideal situation. To be fair, not all of the Scourge Aasimar died. About a half dozen of them, or so-ish, got turned into Erinyes by their own choice. So either way, they're not Scourge Aasimar anymore. And they're probably more jackasses now than they were before they went from Celestial to Devil. The first port of call for dispensing justice, frankly, or vengeance, or whichever one we're calling it right now, both, probably, both is good, was Tansy, the vampire, at the end of the creepy alley known as Street of the Dark Gods. They dealt with that surprisingly well. Possibly, almost certainly, due to the fact that they had an individual with Hold Monster in their party. Because not only was things with the vampire dealt and various spawn dealt with quite quickly, the pit fiend that turned up pretty much midway through the interrogation, got frozen in place and then used like a piñata for a while. By just about everybody but poor Barnabas, who really does not have very good luck with checks, but now has an updated counter charm tattoo, so hopefully the dice won't continue to tell the story of an Azoria Senate cop with the willpower of your average goldfish.
Here's hoping.
Yeah, but as a friend of mine said, sometimes the dice, or the RNG, depending, tells their own story. Anyway, they did a little bit of checking around and located an inn, more of a bar, really, which should get them access to the right underground spots to narrow down their search for Jessamy down there. Their search for Jessamy is actually kind of important at this stage because, according to Tansy, the Erinyes and whatever the hell that giggling lunatic with the burn scars is, Egrephian is about all they know, has attempted to copy the Quick Flight Diminutive's Radiant Energy Bomb, using the sparks of the Celestial from all of the Aasimar they killed to power it. But of course it's not as safe, it doesn't have the same checks and balances, and according to Tansy, who was held by Gias to be telling the truth, incidentally, it could have the power to at least hurt a god. They don't know exactly what it's going to do, but it's not safe. Hazel, in particular, is incredibly concerned about this, as well she should be, because the idea of killing a god is a little because you don't know what's going to happen to the cosmological balance at that point. But either way, there's a whole Remy cut a deal that meant that she needs to take down Jessamy and needs to at least keep her alive long enough for Anufriva to look her in the face and be like, what the fuck did you think you were doing? But then there's this bomb, filled with what of the Aasimar souls were pure celestial in it. and doesn't know what's going to happen if it blows up. Of course, nobody's talked about how to disarm it either, but that's probably, given this group, something they're going to consider closer to the time. They did stop briefly to have a visit to another friend of Cherie's, who runs a sort of a potion shop called The Last Resort, which has some potions, etc., that can temporarily, or in some cases permanently, with some caveats, augment people's various abilities. And yeah, I'm sorry I haven't got back to you about the things that might need shuffling around for you to get a perception proficiency. The last couple of days of this week were horrendous. But
yeah, no problem.
But I didn't figure that we'd get to that this session anyway. So if this involves combat, and I mean, it might not involve combat. This is you guys. I make no assumptions whatsoever. But it might give you a better idea of what you need and what you're willing to give up if there is combat. So, the actual thought has gone into this, I swear. So, yeah, after samplers of regular healing potions that apparently don't taste herbally medicinal, the Cupcake Coterie left the Last Resort, and as an aside, it's that on some level has been sitting there ever since Ben joined us. That was supposed to be a big thing for him, and now I'm just annoyed. Then again, maybe I don't want to know how he'd react to that, given how he reacted to knowing that Bethrano was still out there, so probably just as well, maybe. So thank you, all of you who made a big deal of it, for making a big deal of it. Although Barnabas and Rylan are not going to understand why the fuck everybody was making such a big deal of this. Because,
yeah.
I mean, yeah. But there's still a little ways of travel before we get to the aforementioned inn, so if they want to ask why Hazel was making that noise, by all means. And I have to get my dice, because I forgot them again.
Noise.
Hazel has a lot of that noises, but we know which one we mean.
Alright. I gotta be missing something here. Why was Hazel making that noise in particular?
Okay, I'm glad that wasn't just me then.
It's to do with a former companion of ours.
He got locked into basically a sensory deprivation bubble for, he doesn't know entirely how long, but we're looking at at least a millennium here.
Ugh.
Yeah. So when he came out, he didn't know where he came from, where his people were, and from what I understand from some of what she was saying, if real misfortune happens to their people, they kind of erase their name from, like, the tribe's record, so whatever is giving them the bad luck doesn't cling to them.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, one of his big things was that hairstyle. Shaved close on one side, so if you're drawing a bow, it's not getting in the way. Mm-hmm. Braided down the other side, and the longer the braid, the longer you've lived, and the more mastery you have at whatever it is that you do. That's how he wore his hair, in remembrance, with a few things he remembered of his people. And she was wearing that, so we now know where he comes from. Of course, currently he is now apprenticing with with one of Nerul's assistants, literally. And not the first time we've had somebody not suit well to this kind of adventuring. Kind of hoping it'll be the last.
Well, I'm pretty sure the rest of us that are here now are kind of... We're not going anywhere.
No, I didn't think so. And, I mean, in all fairness, Rizwin was more, you need to spread out a bit more. I'll be up in Cragveer. But there was Aaron. And before Aaron, there was the wizard, as I understand it. We hear stories about the wizard from time to time.
The social awareness of a rat.
No, rats are very social creatures. Or was that rock?
No, not rat. Rock.
That,
His name was Sigwald, and I did not like him.
He, as far as I understand it, he was one of those ones that, I mean, you know wizards.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
This one was a divination wizard.
Oh, no. Say no more. Say no more.
He thought he knew everything. He knew squat all. Except, to his credit, as far as I understand, that he's more of an academic than an adventurer. Yeah, Ree has, I think that was the one time that, the Crestwinds were anything less than utterly charmed by a companion of Ree's. I mean, you know what Corey and Amel are like. More, this is to underline it for Barnabas, because it really was Amel more or less explained that if he was going to interact with them, he needed to get his head out of his ass. Amel Crestwin said that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So even for the diviner, I think I know everything asshole, they were a special case.
No, definitely him.
All right. Honestly, I've always preferred the diviners who just get paranoid and lock themselves in the room with, like, push the food under the door. They're at least you can deal with them.
How if they're locked behind a door?
Exactly.
Honestly,
I'll bet money though that there's got to be at least some out there that actually have their heads not up their own asses.
Oh,
right,
I haven't
and you
found any of them yet, and I'm like honestly worried about that factor.
But the thing is
that would be
well, they don't. If the thing is, if they tell you they're a divination wizard, then they're probably one of the ones that have their head up their asses.
Exactly.
Doesn't need to be the first thing out of anybody's mouth.
Yeah,
the
one.
Stop. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was going to say back home anyway. The diviners that didn't tell you it was a diviner or didn't. You'd have to know what's going on to tell they're a diviner. Those are the good ones. The ones who let you know they are.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You were.
Quick story. You know, Barnabas and Rylan weren't here, but when we went to the Blind Harpy, before that, Hazel kissed me, and I was not prepared to deal with that at the moment, being confused and it being complicated in my brain. And so Darwin was petrified, so he didn't know any of that. So we got to the Blind Harpy, and he got unpetrified, and Sigwald not reading the room, as it were, said very loudly to the entire place, "Hazel kissed Clarity!" And that was not comfortable for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
No. And I think this is before everybody, but Darwin, who's elsewhere, Hazel and Ree, because
Yes,
this
yes.
was that
Hazel
first.
was not here either.
Yeah, nor was I, but I've heard it a couple of times. Darwin and I just sort of sitting in a corner somewhere. He's good with bard anecdotes. But yeah, no, if I remember correctly, the reason that the Crestwinds didn't like him was they were turning around and telling Ree, we knew, since we knew you were coming, we made your favorite, and Sigwald apparently thought they were talking to him. So he was like, "Oh no, you don't have to go to any trouble from my account."
Social awareness of a rock.
I think you might be slandering some rocks.
To be fair, rocks at the very least don't have feet to put in their own mouths, or mouths to put the feet in. Basically, his feet spend so much time in his mouth that he's basically an Ouroboros.
A lot of feet.
Oh.
Wow, Rylan. That is face.
Oh, it's a bit like Darwin, who I believe actually made inquiries in Egref about if there was barbecue sauce flavored boot polish because of the amount of time he stuck his foot in his mouth.
Oh yes, I think I remember that.
That would be useful.
Egraph, I think he got an answer.
Probably.
We'll have to ask him when we meet back up again. But okay, I'm assuming we're relatively nearly there, and sure he is. Yes, but I was going to let you get some of the nervous chatter out of your systems before I started leading into potential issues. Well, you may have noticed we're not exactly on, or in fact anywhere near the Street of Justice right now.
Yeah, you're right.
As I said,
Point.
this is for travelers who are not particularly used to how Anbir does things. The kind that doesn't generally like to get anyone's attention. Let me think. Looks at Barnabas. Sorry, darling, but you're going to have a problem.
Okay.
Looks at Alice. Say, people are going to want to pluck your wings for potion component. They can try. And Remy, well, you're, how do I put this? You're the sort of person that they would think they could win easily against.
Yeah, they can try.
I'm simply saying this is the issue. Any of us with anything up front is going to get some unfortunate attention in a few different quarters, including yourself. Those who do not want to have a punch up with you will be asking your price. That goes for more or less all of us.
Rice?
And Alice says, "You remember what I used to do for a living?"
Oh.
Thank you, that was very discreetly put. They probably won't ask that of me, because they at least know who I am. but, and points, you, points and I'll say you, Rylan, possibly you, and looks at Barnabas. They probably won't if they know you with me, but there might be the occasional adventurous individual.
Rylan, just remember some of the weirder side comments that one of the Mobius twins is making about the other one.
I'm gonna be honest, all of you lost me in conversation a few minutes ago at the concept of barbecue boot polish.
Well, welcome back.
And
There's going to be people asking to bone you.
for money. Alice flags up.
Gone. Just gone again, trying to process that.
Gods above and below, the nervous reset again.
Cherie is just, I'm sorry, it's just, you seem to have got some very positive attention on the Street of Love and Beauty, and some people like that particular build.
Rylan is error to the point where anybody looking over their shoulder could see, like, the writing in their notebook has completely degraded into scribbling levels of error.
Oh no.
Stop. Shift backwards. Stand next to Rylan. Kind of nudge.
Don't knock them over.
So is there a way we can get through without attracting attention?
I doubt it.
Alice does.
Yeah. Kind of.
Remy.
Cherie is like,
That's
actually,
why
clarity,
I'm-
you won't stand out that much.
So I'm suggesting we start figuring out what we're gonna do.
Yes, but the whole reason Hazel was nudging pardon me, is because we all need to actually have our brains operational. Rylan.
Yes. Hi, I live, somehow.
I am very sorry, but we had to warn you because it's better for you
Warning
to
is
get
appreciated.
it's better for you to get that reaction out of your system now than when somebody might not take no for an answer.
Again.
I'm sorry, is there something about your history we should be aware?
No, this has happened before on this street. And I kind of broke.
No, this
Mid-
out of character. This because Cherie is like, and Alice says, I think this was a different street. This is not the Street of Love and Beauty.
Yeah.
That's why they're
Oh
asking.
god, you fried my brain so hard my memory is broken.
We walked off that street about, like, how many blocks back that way?
6.
See? Yeah, 6 blocks back that way is... We're like... What did you say the street was called? Discreet Traveler? What the heck was it called?
Honestly, mostly they don't use it. Any kind of name, I just know where it is. And Alice says, Rylan, the other reason we needed to warn you is because the whole point of these guys is they don't want to pay the prices on the Street of Love and Beauty. So not only are they going to make an offer, they're going to be lowballing. No pun intended. This time.
Noted.
So, yes, no, we are not going to get through there without attracting any kind of attention. And if we cut through there without buying anything, the barman is going to egg them on.
Oh boy.
So this might be a moment of sitting down. I will tell you what to order because about 75% of what is in there is, at least by my standards, undrinkable. And then we just sort of nip to the door I indicate, one or two at a time.
All right.
I like this plan.
For me.
Right, in we go. Yeah, ironically, it looks a bit better than the blind heartbeat, but not much.
Mm.
I mean, it's less grubby, because they can't really get away with grubby, but it's not up to the shining, well-structured standards of most of Anbir. This is a place for people who are intimidated or potentially overly tempted by the expensive bits of shiny in the nicer part of town.
Mm.
So this is good for all concerned. The rowdy element can be over there and wreck it without wrecking all the pretty, and they're a lot less likely to be pickpocketing somebody important. Or, otherwise offending somebody important. At least until now, when Cherie walks into... Yeah, the inside... There's sort of a Bravo's Boast feel to it, but there's less camaraderie involved. It's... Usually in the Bravo's Boast, it's people from various companies gathering together at tables, exchanging gossip, occasionally making over-the-table trades for various bits of loot they picked up, etc., etc. These are individuals and occasional groups sitting moderately away from each other, and the individuals in particular look up at the door when it opens. Hazel and Rylan, insight and perception respectively, and Barnabas, because frankly he's a cop. They're waiting for a contact. And when Cherie walks in the door... I'm going to assume everybody's actually looking, so I'm going to ask everybody to make me a perception check. You have got to be kidding me. Different die, but same result.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we will definitely look at your. We'll definitely look at your ability grouping. Yeah. Ava has been living to the standards she grew up with for so long that she is trying to readjust to, oh right, taverns like this exist. Are you going to roll again, Brian? 'Cause...
Yeah, sorry. Me.
Yeah. Clarity, Barnabas, and Remy are mostly looking for, someplace to sit down that's near. Probably that door in the back is the one that Cherie is talking about. Rylan, Hazel, Alice, and very much Cherie, because my dice be like that, will have noticed that those individuals who watched you all come in discreetly putting hands on weapons. I mean, Cherie's ignoring it.
Going to move forward a little bit, so that I'm like next to Cherie. So I'm hoping you saw that too, right?
Yes, but I wasn't going to say it out loud in a not very large pub.
Right.
Yeah, those of you who
I
made
was trying to say that quietly.
Yes, but it's still not a very big pub.
Mhm.
And yeah, so Rylan is the only other, and well, Hazel obviously sees too. The looks go narrower, and the hands tighten just a little bit on the weapons. Cherie doesn't say anything, but he does a very discreet towards somebody who's looking human, probably. Not the hooded stranger in a corner stereotype, but he looks shady anyway.
Even like the basic.
He looks like the kind of individual that you'd see selling like ill-begotten gains out of the back of a wagon.
Oh, I'm suddenly having flashbacks to another Destiny character who looks like Drifter, who lives in a van down by the river, metaphorically speaking.
Something along those lines, yes. It's still better than the other one, who looks like the sort of individual who would sell health potions that are nothing but water. And herbs for coloring, which Alice knows entirely too well. But, yeah. There's only one table in the place that's big enough for all of you. Unfortunately, because of how the room is laid out, that table is in the middle of the room. You're a group this size, that's the problem. And Shreya's like, well, we're here, and we are going to have to order something. And I'm not going up there because I would probably get stabbed. Let's just say that, beer, wine, which I would definitely avoid, and spirits are not the only thing that gets sold across that bar. And if I started taking an interest in the things that he is selling in any capacity, well, I'm me. So who wants to go and order? I would very much recommend the stout.
I'll do it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's Barnabas. It doesn't. I mean, he thankfully Barnabas heard Hazel talking about because obviously they weren't trailing out in a whole long thing. So he heard about the people with hands on weapons, and yeah, he's been to a few places in Ravnica that are like this.
Yep. Out of character. How many are there? How many of us are there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9.
Cherie and Alice.
Yeah.
Don't remember. I count. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, you're right, 8.
Yes.
Because I count twice. So yeah, but there's still a terrible lot of us for a not very large pub that already is about quarter full of some particularly shady looking individuals. Bartender, older, very scarred dwarf, looks like he's been... These aren't war zone scars, Barnabas would know. Those are bar fight scars. Those are somebody knows how to properly smash and wield a broken bottle, as this guy found out to his chagrin. And he's eyeing you like, what the fuck is this, and why isn't it charging the bar yet? This is the first time in quite some time you've received the apparently normal on this plane's reaction to a Minotaur walking up.
Eight stouts, please.
He is wise, he does not ask. The mugs are wood for the most part, which is kind of unfortunate because it means you can't necessarily tell how clean they are, which is probably why they're wood. Yeah, and the other unfortunate thing is apparently there's no trays. So, bunk, bunk, bunk,
Well,
bunk.
Yeah. Barnabas's hands are big enough.
I am
Well-
going to have to
well-
add. I'm going to have to ask for a dex check. Your hands are. You're only 6.5 feet tall. You're not huge.
Well, to do 4 and 4?
Yeah, because wood. The handles are fairly wide.
Mm.
they built these mugs chunky.
Ah. Don't screw it up. It's not screwing it up.
No, but it was gonna be more than a 10 skill check. We're hand of fading. Oh god! Now you roll low. Where's my D8? You're an asshole. You drop 4 of them,
Oh no.
and because the hand of fate was a 3,
Oh no.
you drop 1. Atop Mr. looks like he sells purloined goods off the back of a wagon. At which point he stands up and points a dagger at your face. He's bigger than he looked. What the fuck did you do that for?
I fucked up. What's his tab?
I'm gonna have to ask you to. You get advantage for this, but I'm gonna need you to make me a persuasion check.
I mean, that is the best reaction.
You're lucky he paid off his tab. He paid off his tab 2 weeks ago, so you're from till right now. You're looking at 10 gold.
Done.
Glares at you a second longer, then puts the dagger away and takes a seat. Alice is like, when he gets to the table with the 4 surviving drinks, it's like, you could have asked one of us for help, you know.
Yeah, I should have. Well, at least I know how to deal with the oops, I dropped a drink on you in a place like this.
I just think you're lucky you didn't concuss the man. Yeah, if that hand of fate had been any lower, you were not getting out of that one because you would have actually caused him damage.
Ah.
Because big chunky mugs.
I'm gonna examine one of the mugs, basically trying to figure out is this thing built this brickish to be able to survive bar fight smashing someone in the face?
Do you have proficiency with improvised weapons?
Not even remotely.
You do know one person at this table who does. Alice. So you could ask her.
Alice?
Hmm?
The size of this, is this built to like hit someone in the face with?
It picks up one of the empties that are still on the floor because bartender's apparently not cleaning them up. Heft. Tunk, tunk, tunk. Yeah, that's stone wood.
Wait, those are rock?
You've heard of petrified wood? Well, there's a kind of wood
Holy shit.
there's a kind of tree that just grows like that. They call it stone wood. So, in answer to your question, yes, probably.
Probably more to make sure that they can be used as improvised weapons but not break.
Looking at the face of the bartender, I'd say so.
Well, Because there's got to be an expense for constantly replacing them, you know?
Well, I was more thinking that you get out of a bar fight with some bruises, a concussion, and maybe some missing teeth. You don't wind up with your eye getting gouged out.
Yeah.
Not that they don't have perfectly acceptable bladed weapons to be doing that. And Shuri is like, I do not believe we're having this conversation. Yeah, trio of... You hadn't really got a very good look at these ones. There's 2 elves and a tiefling. All 3 males. They get up from their corner, they walk over, and they're circling the table in what Hazel in particular recognizes as the kind of look that people considering whether to buy livestock use.
I'm just looking directly at Clarity and A with this expression that just reads, I'm going to throw someone.
Keeping an eye on them, not like interacting with them, but just like
Well, shit. After a little bit of the whole duck duck goose kind of walking around the place, the elf leans between Remy and Alice, facing Alice. So how much for a half an hour in the upstairs room?
Ooh.
Now, before I do anything, is anybody else going to do anything?
Remy looks to Alice,
Sort
as if for
Preparing to
permission.
jump up.
yeah,
You either get out of the way or help.
At this point.
So, okay, I'm gonna go through this one at a time because you're short and they're leaning right into personal space. You can't lean past them to be looking at Alice at this point. Most of what you see are feathers in one direction and this jackass is back in the other, so you're on your own in so far as what you're deciding to do. But I'll see what everybody else is doing, see if anybody's going to interrupt you, and give you a second to think what you want to be doing about this. Hazel, you said...
Basically just kind of bracing to half start getting up. If Alice starts either throwing someone a leap or help.
Okay, Ava?
Similar, I'm like gauging, following Alice's lead basically.
Yeah, you're a little bit more across the table. Alice has been keeping pretty much internal since the whole Avernus thing. So I'd like you, who can see Alice and anybody looking at her to see what she's going to be doing, to make me an insight check.
Can Remy make that, or is he too much in the way?
You can't see. You can't see her at all at this point. They're close enough.
Okay.
And Ava?
Oh,
Oh.
sorry. I thought you used.
Yeah, she's... If Remy doesn't do something, she will. And believe it or not, Remy would probably be the least damaging. Because she has had a really shitty last little while. And there's a whole lot of shit she hasn't had the time to properly process yet. And she does not need this shit right now. Rylan?
I'm waiting to see if one of them strike first before
Okay.
causing any extra problems.
Clarity?
Clarity's gonna start chewing gum.
No, I think a couple of you have forgotten what her gum does.
I remember.
Good.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't.
no, because this is the arcade shit. We're about to see some hoodoo.
Barnabas.
Barnabas turns to keep an eye on the other two idiots to see exactly where they are when he's expecting festivities.
To be fair, because the way I figure it is, given how you guys normally settle yourselves, Remy's on one side of Alice with Jude leaning between the two of you. You're on her other side.
Mm-hmm.
So those two jackasses are standing directly behind you and her. So they've got you guys, they think anyway, boxed in. Remy.
Nope, Remy's deferring to Alice at the moment. She's braced for violence.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
All right. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Well, shit. You remember how she was holding one of those mugs,
Oh no.
determining its
In the
use?
head. In the head.
Oh no, this guy's nose makes the most wonderfully satisfying noise when it goes crunch. Because she has directly into this guy's face. Actually, can Remy make me a dex save? Because this guy is going backwards pretty much directly into her.
Uh-oh.
Hit the floor.
Yeah, you were braced for violence, but what you had to do was shove your chair away from this guy going topple, which kind of bumped Rylan a bit. So you guys jostle, but you're not hit. And the other two, how's this gonna go? Yeah, okay. Well, one of them has taken the opportunity to grab a handful of her wing feathers and is apparently trying to yank them, which is the last thing you really want to be fucking doing at this point. The other one has effectively pulled some kind of scarf, but it's more of a canvasy kind of a thing, so bit of cloth anyway, sort of throttling from the back. I don't entirely have a map, but we know approximately where everybody is sitting. Can we all please roll some initiative at this point?
Full stupid. They went full stupid.
Oh, brother.
we kind of let them go full stupid.
Holy cow, that's a lot of 21s.
You guys are using all your you two are using all your nat 20s now.
I think that still puts Clarity above us because of just the deck score being that
Oh.
nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Nuts,
hers is. You guys have Dex at 1. She has Dex at 4. So she rolled 17. Still good though.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's.
Cool's turbo. Clarity is turbo.
Honestly, I'm probably not going to bother too much in terms of their movements because they currently have a hostage to fortune, so to speak. So let's see, that's. Poor Rylan. Maybe you're getting all your nat ones out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, honestly, I didn't necessarily write that in the best order, but fuck it, we'll because 3 of you have the same number. Hazel, which makes sense because you were a lot more braced than Clarity or Barnabas were.
I was just ready to go.
Yep. So it makes sense.
All right. So one of these guys is basically pulls a cloth and is trying to do.
Oh no, that's the thing, because she whammed this guy, so she was a bit distracted, went over, cloth over, and is currently basically throttling her. Just be glad it's not piano wire.
Yeah.
Would I be able to hit him with, like, say, if in this enclosed space?
You're across the table, and
Got
Alice.
it.
So there's a table and Alice between you and.
And there's at least one other.
Yeah, there's one sort of more behind Barnabas, who's trying to yank out a couple of her wing feathers just on the basis of this must be worth a goddamn fortune.
Right. Is there? I think I'm probably gonna go for that one.
Okay.
In this case, pull. As I've been carrying the axe, I'm gonna pull that and just try and swat him, basically just over top with the flat.
I'm gonna hand to fate this. I'll put it at you can certainly try.
I'm gonna try and bonk this guy.
Yeah, no. Though you did solve the problem for everybody else. Because currently, instead of a table, there is a bunch of debris.
I just hit it, and the whole thing exploded.
Well, it kind of... Basically, it's not a very well-made table. It's one of those ones that's sort of circular with a barrel underneath it instead. So
holy shit.
the tabletop shattered, fell in a couple of different pieces. That went straight through to the barrel, which is now splinters and a couple of those steel bands that were keeping it in.
I just justified this thing.
Yes, you did. Do you have a bonus action?
No, that's me. Whoever's next, go nuts.
Barnabas.
Barnabas is going to use. These guys think they're behind him.
One of them is more behind you now, because there's one that's currently quasi-garroting Alice. The one that's trying to steal some of her feathers is pretty much behind you.
Gotcha. Barnabas is just going to start swinging at the guy trying to garrote Alice, because no, you don't get to do that.
Okay, but what are you swinging? Basically, are we going for lethal at this point?
Probably not, which means... What's the penalties for swinging with improvised weapons when you're not trained?
Well, that just basically means you're not proficient, so it's effectively it effectively roll strength.
Okay. He'll just grab one of the mugs and try to at least concuss, if not, maybe a minor skull fracture. It'd be fine.
Let's see if you hit him first. You definitely hit him. I'll do damage at this point because didn't necessarily have a damage rating for stone wood mugs. And defeat this. Well, you did definitely get him to reel back, and he's going to have quite the black eye. But unfortunately, he's reeling back, and he's still holding on to this bit of cloth. Clarity!
Okay, so.
Oh, sorry, you have a second attack.
Oh.
You are a fighter.
Yeah, and no, we're just gonna do it again. What's the multiple? No, I don't. It probably misses.
No, actually, these guys are not wearing armor.
Oh.
Yeah, you've hit him in the same eye. It's like you're trying to get him to, like...
Grab your face, you moron.
Fortunately, not so much. Clarity.
Okay, so not gonna do anything with the gum just yet, because her being garroted, pulling up seems like a bad idea. So I'm gonna reach into my bag of tricks and I'm gonna throw a fuzzy thing in that guy's face and see who pops up.
Guess who popped up? So you've thrown
badger to the face, essentially.
I've never entirely got exactly how we're attacking with your animals here, so I'm just gonna hand of fate this. Dude has a face full of badger.
A bad time.
Yeah, and hand of fating. No, this time he actually does let go.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that between pulling out a fuzzy thing and releasing the Norman, because it's always fucking Norman. That's your
Lucky number 3.
Yeah, apparently.
Go for the eyes, Norman.
Oh my god! Go for the eyes, Boo! Go for the eyes!
Rangers and hamsters everywhere. Rejoice!
Of course, I mostly think Tally about that one. She always tells her attack drone, "Go for the eyes."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she was also referring to
Yes.
Boo reference.
I'm aware. It's a cross Bioware reference. I know. But to be fair, I've only ever seen Boo in Baldur's Gate 3 because you've got Matt Mercer as mids literally smashing through a fucking wall and Boo. I want to know why you can't talk to Boo when you have Speak with Animals active.
Boo is Boo. Do not question the space hamster.
And the fact that the space hamster in Mass Effect 2, I believe, used the exact same noise lines as Boo made my head go, no, that's actually Boo. So expect Minx at some point. Just, I'm sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately for this bunch of shitheads, the person who is next on our initiative roll is Alice. And rather unfortunately for all concerned, well, she's now not being throttled anymore.
She's pissed.
Yes, she is. Because, of course, there's the other thing. She is a monk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's...
Dope bug shit.
Yeah, that's a terrible lot of dope monk shit. She has not bothered with the mug this time. The guy who was plucking her feathers, she is clearly having some kind of flashback at this point because she is beating that man's face to a pulp.
More like in a blind rage sort of.
Well, that's the thing. She's the weirdest part is because she used to rage. You remember her raging. Because barbarian. This is just cold, clinical, surprisingly controlled, just... Remy,
Remy,
The guy who she beat his nose in on the floor over there is trying to get up. The guy who is throttling her is currently attempting to divest his face of Badger, and Alice's got the other one covered.
okay, she'll punch the guy getting up.
Okay, that's straight up. That's gonna be straight up strength because I don't think you have.
Oh,
I'm handing you
I think she's got 2 hits.
Yeah, well, yeah, except, keep in mind there's blood and scraps of table everywhere right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You trip and go prone because you're trying to swing downwards. Wrong angle and just thump. Overbalanced, frankly.
Pick herself up.
Yeah.
And swing again.
Okay, yeah, I'll do damage. Yeah, he's not very happy at this point either. Ava, you have never been in a bar fight before. It's baby's first bar fight for 2 of you.
Oh wow! Welcome.
I mean, it's very, very clear that Alice has been in bar fights before.
yeah.
Like, entirely clear.
I mean, we knew that, but yeah. Well, the main thing was getting the guys off Alice. That's been dealt with. Does it look like anyone else is coming to get some?
Give me a perception check.
Because we don't want
That'll be effectively your turn.
Yeah, that's fine. Well,
You're not sure? You do know a couple of people are watching, but they're either waiting to get in on this when the first lot stop being amusing chew toys, or they're placing bets. You're not sure which. Rylan.
Oh, do I even have anything that does stuff non-lethally? Trying to read for the last 10 minutes. Does this work? Hold on. No, it doesn't. Okay. So all 3 of them are kind of just occupied. All 3 of the ones that approached us initially, right?
Pretty much, yes.
More or less.
More or less.
I feel like Ryland in this situation is also just kind of in a state of, I don't know what to do, so is there anyone else trying to get a
Okay,
piece of this
now it's
and
your
deal with them?
Now you can make me a perception check. Yeah. There's a couple of people who look disappointed in that, this might have been a brawl they wanted to get into until it was very clear that the weirdos had the upper hand. So now it's spectator sport and betting event. But
So it's just these 3 is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, except you're probably gonna have to deal with the barman at the end of this because you're wrecking up his pub and he's getting kind of pissed.
Quietly trying to make the mental note of how do we deal with this man after we're done.
Well, that leaves Cherie.
Wait, I rolled a 2. How bad did Cherie do?
I just put her at the back of because she is what she is, and I wanted everybody to have a shot.
That's fair.
Because what she has done is obviously not in the same way as Scanlan would do it, but Bigby's hand.
ooh.
Not many of you, in fact almost none of you, I think it's largely only Clarity that actually knows the spell exists. It's not a commonly used one. effectively picks up the one on the floor, so Remy is punching this guy and pulling back for another one, and large purple hand scoop like you would a recalcitrant kitten out of a basket, and literally yeets him out the door. Thankfully, it's sort of Batwing door kind of thing, so it's not breaking anything.
Balloon doors.
Yeah, that's what they're called. They're called Batwing doors. Yeah, but literally just picks him up and yeet.
Didn't she throw us with?
Oh
this
yes,
across the
yes,
river?
no, of course, yes, I did.
Yes.
When I went eat, I'm like, oh yeah, no, right, she did definitely eat people. So yeah, as soon as you guys see the purple hand come up, you're like,
Oh.
okay, we're doing this. Yeah, that's the point at which, the barman has apparently been shopping in Egriff. This is not,
His first rodeo.
that's the thing, this is not to whom it may concern. To whom it may concern is very direct, very personally aimed. This was what we would call dear grid coordinates. This is a shotgun. Blunderbuss,
Everything in
effectively.
this direction. Stop.
Except what he's doing is firing not quite at the ceiling, but ceiling adjacent, so he's just sort of scoring some line with what you don't know how to call buckshot, but something anyway that hits, scrapes across part of the ceiling at fairly high velocity and makes a lot of noise. You know what a shotgun sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Stack.
Yeah, effectively. When everybody's attention has been got, slams the butt against the bar, going, all right. I'm not gonna say she, pointing at Alice, overreacted. I'm gonna say he did, or his friends did. The individual with the attempted throttling still has still attempting to extricate himself from Badger. This was it's literally.
Oh, yeah, it's on his face, and it sounds like he's rolling around.
No, it's trying to, but he's afraid.
He's standing, and it's just on his face.
Yeah, the badgers are not that huge. This is the elf, and he's not he's not that kind of lithe and wiry. I can't talk to him unless you get the fucking badger off his face.
All right, Norman. Let's see if he's learned his lesson.
Thump. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's currently trying to wipe blood off his face. Alice did stop punching when the shotgun went off. The dwarf looks like he's about to say something about it maybe overreacting to the third guy. But the look he's getting from her... She lets go, and both of them run out to join their recently yeeted friend. Alright, why are you fuckers here? Adventurers don't drink here. Sheree sighs as you guys all stonewall this man. We need access to beneath the city. We were trying to do this without disrupting your business and ensuring you got some custom from your largest table being taken. I am sure I can arrange some replacements the next time I speak to the governor. And anybody who would pluck or otherwise remove pieces of one's clientele, probably not the sort of person you want anyway. And what's your interest in this? Are you asking my business or the governor's? She gestures in a backroomish direction. Out.
Remy will go help Alisei up.
Oh no, she wasn't dropped. She was literally on one knee, holding this guy up, and wham! So she gets up, no problem.
Shield.
But when Remy turns up, she's just prestidigitating blood off her knuckles.
You are amazing.
Yeah, I have some shit to work out, but that's. I really wish they hadn't done that, because I've been trying to be pretty cheerful at this point, and there's just no.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for the backup, by the way.
Mm.
You're welcome.
Ava makes a mental note to find a moment to talk to Alice.
And yeah, we are about at the break point, and it looks like Lindira has things to do. So we will we'll take break, and when we come back, we'll actually begin our well, we'll actually begin our descent into the ancient temples below Anbir. So see you in a few minutes. And we're back after a mild appetizer of a barroom brawl. Been a while since. I mean, to be fair, these guys haven't had a really significant bar brawl, and Ava and Ryland have never actually had one before. Even Hazel's had close.
I would argue technically we didn't have one either, because both of us just were scoping the scene.
Yeah, but if it had got any worse, you might have. So, you were...
There.
Peripheral involvement is still involvement. Yeah, as you walk into the back street, it's like, well, it was either that or Hold Monster, but A, I'm sort of saving that one, and B, sometimes you just need to make an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Norman is trotting along on at Clarity's heels, and there's a shop, assuming this all goes well, that I need to take you to.
Oh.
I don't know if you've heard of this, but they do these little statues that can become living dogs or cats or pets of some kind.
Yes. Please.
Do you realize what you've just unleashed?
I'm sorry, do you think I am completely stupid?
No, I'm just wondering if there's a little bit of possible underestimation. I'm very much believing that probably not, because you're you, but my brain went to that question.
No, I know exactly what I have unleashed. A similar sort of thing to what I'm going to unleash when I inform you all. At least two of you are going to have a certain reaction to. There's a spot just a little off the street of Nature's Bounty, one of the side streets. There's a lovely little bistro. You remember that place you talked about with the strawberry cheesecake?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that does the best strawberry cheesecake in the city.
Oh.
This one specializes in cheesecake.
Oh boy.
My favorite is the gingerbread cheesecake.
Oh.
I'm sorry, there's a what?
Oh, say less. Say less.
It will also help, I'm sure, to know that 2 doors down is a shop called the Fudge Patch.
I mean, if you don't want me to ever leave this city, I think you found it. I mean, on top of, yeah.
Put it to you this way, if I am wooing you, I do want you to stay in this city when you're done saving the world.
Okay.
But yes, I believe their recent offerings were. They actually have an entire selection of coffee fudges.
Oh.
I'm just looking at Clarity now.
But the most recent was apple and cinnamon. Basically, if you took apple pie filling and made it fudge.
Yeah, Barnabas is just straight up doing the Homer Simpson
Literally dripping saliva at this point.
Sorry, that was rude.
We'll once we've dealt with this, we'll have ourselves a proper celebration.
Mm-hmm.
But
You are one of the best people. Period. Thank you.
I do my best. Now, yeah, you're in. It's a back room in a pub, and mostly what you have is large kegs full of something or other. Probably some of the booze. None of you actually drank any of what you purchased, or what Barnabas purchased. Lining the walls with crates in the center. If one of the crates is actually open, and it appears that they have a similar approach to food as the blind harpy, though it's here, so it might actually be edible. But there's a heavy focus on salt pork and cabbage. And onions. Yeah, that's right. Barnabas entirely missed the blind harpy.
He's very glad of it.
Yes, because these guys are looking at that and probably having minor flashbacks.
How does something like how here how?
Mostly on the grounds of people don't necessarily always know what to do with good food. There's an individual in Egraf who is trying to make a tablet, a pill, something you swallow that gives you all the calories and nutrients you need in a day because he thinks eating is a waste of time.
See, there's use for that, but like the logic behind it sucks. Then there's I blind harpy. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right, the door is behind one of these.
I'm gonna start looking for the door.
Well, perception to start with, anybody who's doing a look.
Give some help.
Oh my god. I am so sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, Remy is the one who sees it first, probably because she's sort of further down on a level where she can actually see that it's almost completely hidden behind a fairly large barrel. One of those ones that's sort of set sideways and you've got the little spigot stuck in it. It's a line of 3 sort of squashed into a little niche in the wall.
Over here.
Yeah, Hazel spots it right after, and the rest of you mostly need to pointed out to you.
That is. Can it be opened?
Well, you need to get the barrel out of the way first. And Alcé looks at her.
Barrel.
Yeah, sorry, Remy, your strength is 3?
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna take the two of us with the strength a little higher than that. 'Cause
Oh,
it's-
wait! I was chewing on this. And I stick it to the bottom barrel that's in front of the
I'm sorry, there's a weight limit.
on levitate. It's like 500 pounds.
Yeah, how the hell much would... Now I need to look up how the hell much something in a cake like that would weigh. Yeah, that's just the one keg. And this is a barrel that is larger than a whole bunch of you, and it's full. Hand of Fate says it goes kind of... You have helped, because it was wedged in with the other two, because they've been crammed pretty hard into there. You managed to loosen it from its squidge, and then the levy bubble sort of detaches and floats up to the ceiling, where it hovers like a pink bubble.
We all hear the creak as it
Yes.
jostled loose.
Yeah.
Clarity.
Thanks, Clarity.
That is unreasonably powerful gum.
That was pretty cool.
And Alcé just looks over at Barnabas.
I'll take. All right, let's do it.
Grab. And, I'm gonna roll this with advantage because my dice are nicer than the RNG.
Mm-hmm.
My dice are definitely nicer than the RNG. You guys have moved heavy things before, and while you're not entirely of a height, you're closer to the same height than you are with Remy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yeah, there's a heavy steel-bound door, which, what is everybody's passive perception?
11.
11.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
Well,
17.
Well,
Yeah, it's Alcé, Cherie, and Rylan, which I'm going to give it to Rylan, going, that lock is newer than that door.
That is strange. Why is the lock newer than the door?
Intelligent folks, possibly because somebody didn't want it opened. Somebody who came through recently didn't want it opened.
Somebody who came in recently didn't want it opened. Probably wasn't locked before. It is now. I'm gonna check it for traps.
Okay, I'll give you investigation on this one.
Okay. 23.
It's definitely trapped, but it's magically trapped. You don't see mechanisms. And you have to be very careful when you're prodding because you can see it's only the faintest glow. And you see when you're peering in and nudging tiny some kind of rune. It's too small to tell what exactly it is, but runes inside a lock. A means that weirdo alchemist probably is more than just an alchemist. And B, if you try to pick that lock right now, you don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be bad.
So this lock is magically trapped. I do not have the capability to undo it at the moment.
I'll say, just... May I?
Mm-hmm.
He leans down to about lock level, flips it off. Fuck off! Dispel magic. I'll leave you to pick it.
Very nifty trick.
Sure.
Spell magic and counterspell, the two most unexpectedly super useful things in all of existence.
Yeah, without
Another thieves' tool.
yeah, I'm letting Rylan keep counterspell, mostly because Alice, it felt if she was gonna have magical secrets, and she obviously is, it's gonna be smites for her. So yeah,
Flavors of Turbo Bonk.
yeah, it's not the most complicated lock you've ever seen, but it's fiddlier than you would have thought. It's logical to figure out how to pick it, but it's not. It takes a little longer than the ones that you've seen in all but the wealthiest of wealthy people's houses in Cedar Grove and Point surrounding. Clearly, nobody wanted anybody getting in here without the appropriate key.
Well, somebody didn't want anybody coming in, but it's open now.
And
See-
Norman is sitting
Babe?
happily at your feet, still.
Scritch,
Babe,
scritch.
how do you keep getting more attractive when you do that?
Because you're turned on by larceny?
I don't know why!
I think it's the competency.
I also think it's. I'm not going to say that, but out of respect for clarity, I'm not going to say that. Not loudly, anyway. Shall we?
Yeah, that's
Does lean back towards. Nudges Hazel towards the back of the thing, and if it makes you feel any better, it's probably down to your sexuality and what can be done with fingers.
Just incoherent, half squeak, half just meebling, I guess is the best way to describe it. It's just this quiet, half grumble, half meeble noise. It's currently coming out of Hazel.
Yeah, that was between the two of them, and when the meebling starts a little louder, my work here is done. So, yeah, you get into what does seem to be it's more of a closet than a room, and on the floor there's a hole and possibly the most decrepit looking ladder in existence going down into darkness.
That's gonna break the minute we touch it.
Yeah, that doesn't look sturdy. Absolutely.
My only thought is to go down and see how far down it is.
Are we sure it's actually looking decrepit, or if it's an illusion so that people think it is? Because, I mean, if someone came here recently, they would need something steady.
Alice gives it a tap and crunch, it falls into the hole. The people who would have been using the people who would be using this entrance have wings now.
Yeah, them having a fly, them having the ability to fly is just increasingly turning into a pain in our ass.
Glances at Remy. I have a feeling that some recent conversations with Ziriel have some more of us than Cherie, and me recently, because I'm sure he is. We've been trading notes. Hold Monster's been so helpful for you all. It seemed wise to have the one who travels with you full time having it.
Thank you.
Still keeping
Best I can do is humanoids.
I'm still keeping dispel magic in my bag of tricks, though. But yeah, I have a feeling that Ree may have had some discussions with Zuriel about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down and see how far down that is. Because if it's too far, it's probably going to have to taxi people down there.
I'm not a fan of you going alone, but I don't think you have much choice.
I appreciate.
Not believe in your abilities.
Sheree is sort of nudges Ava back. That's why no one else said anything, dear. Clearly they were just as worried about it as you were, but they respected Alice's abilities enough to keep their mouths shut. Pat, pat, pat on the shoulder. Yeah, Alice has not engaged with that. Just when Ava was dragged aside, she just sort of whoop into the hole, and you hear. And Sheree is just. That's not like you, Ava. Are you? You seem a bit on edge.
Worried about her.
Well, I wouldn't be so worried about anything attacking her physically. I think she'd probably quite enjoy taking out some aggression.
That's kind of part of what I'm worried about. Not.
Yes,
not
but
her.
we'll almost certainly hear it.
Well. No, I mean I'm not worried about her physically. I'm more worried about the mental state.
Yes, but we can't do anything about that now.
Well,
And she might feel better for beating more things to paste.
true.
I appreciate you being concerned. I'm sure everyone is. But they've pretty much internalized the fact that there's not much we can do about it right now. And she's only going to be in worse shape if we don't save the world. Like, briefly, because then we'll not have to worry about it, but you know what I mean. It actually takes you'd think you think it'd maybe be like 30-40 seconds for your average ladder length. But no, it actually takes like 2-3 minutes to punk. So this city was apparently it was built on like a lot of other city, because it's a long way down.
You hit the bottom though, right?
I did, but you know how long it took.
Yeah, we all heard that much.
Got an estimation for how deep it is?
For what matters, beyond Dimension Door.
That's pretty far.
Yikes.
Definitely beyond Misty Step and Echoes. Even if you could see where to put it, which pitch black, no.
Like, teleport would work, but you need to know where you're going.
Yeah, most of what we have is... I want to say tunnel, but also kind of corridor, because that's... When I came down into... Well, like tunnel, but brickwork. Very old brickwork. I didn't spend too long looking at it. But it's either some building's corridor, or I don't even know. So we're gonna have to do this one at a time. Because I don't see any other way. Anybody have any thoughts about the order we should be doing this in?
I'm the heaviest. Probably me first or last.
You should probably be last just on the basis that you're one of the ones who can't see in the dark.
Mm.
Somebody needs to be down there before you to either be able to see down there, make a light, or both.
I can go first in that case, because I can be very, very luminescent.
Well, you and Reek can both be very luminescent.
Plus, we both have keels, so whichever.
Remy down first because she's the defensive one. Because obviously, while you're being dropped carefully placed, you're probably going to take a minute getting your bearings, and if something happens down there, you probably want to get your bearings with a shield between you and whatever's being pitched at you.
That's right.
The dark vision's a bit better too, isn't it? Since
No, out of character, no, your dark visions are all about the same. It's just that Remy is a human that has it. The only reason it's worked in some situations rather than others was because of a specific type of magical darkness. She wouldn't be able to see through your magical darkness, but some she can. It's a thing.
It is a...
All right, let's get rolling.
Yeah, but I'm looking at. I want more than just who goes down first and who goes down last.
Bring me down after Remy, I guess.
No, you should be second to last or last because we want to have a healer up here and a healer down there for as long as possible.
Got it. Okay.
I could go next to cover the other direction or something. Cover distance.
Fair enough. Although, no, I'd want Rylan for that.
Mhm.
Dark vision,
To be safe. Yeah.
light, you'll only see as far as the light goes. Rylan will still be able to see where the light dims out to the point you wouldn't be able to see it. So, Remy, Rylan, Clarity next because you also do ranged and you're good at hiding in a shadow.
Mm.
Then Ava.
Okay.
Then Shuri. Then Barnabas. Then Hazel.
That'll work.
Okay. This is going to be tricky because this hole is not very big. And my wings kind of are. So, that's going to be even worse for Barnabas, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get directly under the hole and you're going to have to jump. So, yeah, she goes down the hole and waits for Remy.
All right.
Yeah, it catches you without too much issue, and yeah, it is a long way down, and she didn't describe much about what she was drifting down, but one thing you do notice is that there's just about enough space for her wings if she's careful. This is like a very large chimney or something. Or like a corridor that was turned sideways.
I really hope we don't have to make a habit of this.
Well, it'd be interesting to see how we get back out of here again. Because we're not getting back up this way. Probably. And at least boosting you guys up will be easier than having you guys jump and bring you down.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, a couple of minutes later, chunk. And yeah, from the looks of things, it's tunnel corridor kind of situation. It's very old stonework. It's narrow. It's very much a one person at a time thing in here. At least for this one. And Alcé gives Remy a quick kiss on the top of the head and then heads back up. And if Remy wants to investigate the area, then Remy can investigate the area.
Yep. She'll have a look from her stationary position.
I'm going to ask you for a religion check. This is very, very old Palor worship. This is beyond old Palor worship. This was at around the time before the gods retreated behind the Divine Gate, and you got more of the Dark Ones interfering more. From your stationary position, you're not seeing much but mural and writing in what you think is celestial. Actually, with that roll, you know it's celestial. But it looks like the mural seems to depict some kind of meeting between all the gods. And they haven't done physical representations of the gods in a humanoidish form for a very, very long time, since before the Shattered Land shattered. So this is old as balls, and Hazel and Clarity are going to lose their shit. Yeah, and Alcé pokes head up. Rylan. Yeah, and down you go, and catches you as carefully as possible, but yeah, it's a long way down and it's narrow. This is, if anyone here is claustrophobic, they're going to have a minor problem.
Yeah, this really wasn't meant for mass shuttling up and down.
I'm still trying to figure out why they have effectively a very narrow corridor that's going perpendicular to the actual floor. I have no idea what this is supposed to even be.
I suppose maybe we'll find out more once we explore a little further.
Yeah. From what little I saw down there, it's going to be interesting for a couple of you anyway. And yeah, a couple of minutes later, Remy hears the sound of wings and Rylan is deposited next to her in the dark, and up she goes again, and yeah, you're in your little corridor tunnel. Any conversation happening?
Honest.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Rylan's just trying to keep an eye out on anything.
Yeah, I mean,
More concerned about keeping watch for anything.
yeah, you're seeing murals and vaguely familiar runes. And you can make a religion check if you want. I'm just not sure if you're proficient, but you might know. You might know
I
something.
am not, but I can always try. Dice tell stories, after all. No.
No, this is clearly very important because, like, it's still being kept down here, but why have I never seen anything like this? Because down here is supposed to be temples. I don't see things like this in temples. Is this just non-forest people being weird?
Gods, this is weird.
That's one way to put it.
you recognize any of this at all?
It's an ancient temple to Taylor. Very, very ancient.
Intriguing.
And around that point, way back up, bink. Clarity. And down and yeep. Catch, and down you go. And yeah, couple of minutes later, clarity deposited. And yeah, you see murals, and unfortunately this is history or religion. Arcana doesn't cut it here.
I'll do history.
Okay?
Hang on. 12.
I mean, it's enough. This is that's clearly celestial, but you can't read it because you can't read all languages anymore. And okay, this is clearly a temple to some god or other, because that's about what you'd imagine the gods to look like if you were going to make humanoid manifestations of them, but there's never been humanoid manifestations of the gods in anything you've ever read. You didn't think it was done.
This is strange. She starts terribly drawing the mural in her notebook.
All hail the sketchbook again.
Yeah, so you guys, I mean, to be fair, you hear wings, and then in the silence, there's, this is weird, and the sound of pencil, and, because of course nobody's set up a light down there yet, because everybody down there so far has dark vision. And yeah, apparently Clarity is near silently sketching, and then pink Ava. And down you go, and a couple of minutes later, plunk. Somebody might want to give this one a light.
Remy will cast a light.
And yeah, and now you can see actual color in the mural of. If Ava wants to make a religion check, she can. Since Clarity is busy sketching and probably not paying a whole terrible lot of attention. Yeah, you can't really tell which god this temple is to, largely on the basis that you're seeing what must be physical representations of all the gods sat around some kind of almost council table and some writing in Celestial, but no, you once as a very small child remember Darvin, when he was spending summer in the immediate vicinity, asking your local priest of Palor, and what do the gods look like? And this holy man was scandalized. They're gods. They can look like whatever they want. Why would you pin a god to a humanoid form? And that looks kind of like what Darvin was imagining until he got told not to be imagining that.
That's not something.
Yeah, it's not really done. Sketch.
Not any time in the last couple thousand years. Probably more.
Definitely more, because the Mobius twins are older than that, and they were around. Not even they were around during the shattering of the Shattered Lands. The Shattered Lands were shattered a long time ago. And think, Shuri. Alright, in I go. And a few minutes later, you're joined by Cherie. Looking over Clarity's shoulder and going, "You know, the Street of Love and Beauty actually has courses in drawing."
My pictures are perfect, thank you.
It's just that your rays of light look a little bit like a puff ball. So you've made what I believe is supposed to be Palo look like a dandelion.
He can look floofy if he wants to.
I'm sure he can. I'm just not sure that's what this bureau was meant to convey.
It's shimmery.
Sorry, darling, but it's Pomeranian. But Palo
Everyone's a critic.
Palo can look like Puffy if he wants to.
She starts hiding her notebook.
I'm Die, thank you, forever.
The only reason I bring it up is because I kind of figured you wanted to publish one day.
Maybe. They're more for me.
Fair enough, but I think it would be a sin and a shame to just keep the world from seeing your brilliance. And no, she's not being sarcastic at all.
I understand. It's just she
Also-
flips to the pages with the kobolds. Look,
I mean,
Adorable.
they are adorable. They really are. I just also thought you liked learning things, so sorry if I
I
overstepped.
do. I kind of like them.
Oh, that's the thing. If you learn how to draw it in a different style, that can still be your style, but you can refine it.
I'll think about it. She starts drawing especially boxy.
Yeah, it's just. I believe one of our artists from Agraf always put it: learn the rules so you know how to break them.
I'm familiar with that philosophy.
Nice to hear that one's got around. I'm never going to tell Edgar that. We would never hear the end of it. He doesn't need that much of swelled head. And then, meanwhile, Al says, "Barnabas, this is going to be a bit of a squish for you, so, if you want to kind of hang and I'll grab, because I don't think catching you mid-fall is a good idea."
I was gonna say, I don't know if that's the greatest idea in the world.
Well, I've come up with a healthy alternative for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to make
'cause-
me an athletics check.
Okie dokie.
I'd like the both of you to not wind up paced, because I wouldn't be able to do anything about that from up here.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you used to do this kind of pull-up in training with me back home, and you haven't done it in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, at least I don't have to pull myself up. At least I don't have to pull myself up. And then LSA grabs around the middle and down you go.
Yeah, out of character. Falling and catching Barnabas. I'm sorry, physics is the harsh mistress.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I'll willingly suspend a few laws of physics in a world with magic, but there are limits. Kind of like, we are glorious golden gods, we'll be fine. Leap, goldfish.
EM's two greatest weapons: fall damage and water.
Well, in that case, it was more rocks.
Yeah.
Yep, fall damage,
And,
water.
yeah.
Water being a thing that drags people off of waterfalls and also people drown in.
And yeah.
That and gravity's the final boss of all Dark Souls games.
Yeah, there's reasons I'm never playing them. That's at least 3 of them, and it's one of the reasons why I'm very hesitant about Veilguard. Because apparently you can be knocked off those cliffs and killed.
Oh no.
That's
And I'm having a hard enough time with Silent Hill too, but I have mods now.
Yay.
I have one that the melee weapons will kill in one hit. I just don't have the spoons to be beating things to death like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, anywho, a couple of minutes later, Barnabas, you can very much tell because it's less poof and more clop. Well, that went well, apparently.
It did. It did. Thankfully.
And yeah, you're seeing Clarity making notes and sketching, and a couple of the people looking slightly bewildered at this mural. You do not have the religious backing to make a roll for this.
I was going to say his entire reaction to it would be, huh, and then look in another direction.
And apparently there's more mural going into the dark, but you're all staying in one spot as much as you can, because this is a kind of narrow corridor.
That's a good idea.
And finally, Hazel.
Here goes nothing.
Yep, and you're light. You're fine. And I'm not going to make you roll for this because you were the actual bona fide cleric. This is one of those special cleric dialogue options.
As well, probably, and even if I had to make a roll at Mount Paylor, I would have been like just face ground into the scripture for days.
Yeah, this is. Well, you have at the very least would have been told you don't. It's kind of like how Muslims will not make a physical representation of Allah. You don't do this to the gods. You don't make the gods look like people. The gods are more than people. What is this?
Yeah, I'm staring.
I mean,
then I'm hyperventilating.
Yeah, Jalira would have on one of her summers home, because Hazel was trying to internalize that and figure out why, and it was Jalira who told her, well, one time when they were walking the prime material plane, they did take a humanoid shape, but when they went back through the Divine Gate before the shattering of the Shattered Lands, it didn't seem right to assume that they maintained those forms. So we don't make them look like people anymore because we would never be able to do them justice.
Yeah, so once Hazel touches down and sees all of this, the cleric is just hyperventilating now?
Uh-oh.
You okay over there?
Patting her back.
This is bad, right?
I think this is surprising. Hazel.
Please tell me someone can read Celestial. Like, perfectly. Transcribe all of this. Now.
Jeez, calm down.
It's just
Points to
vibrating.
Alice.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, this isn't it. This part isn't scripture anyway. This is describing the mural. This is the. This isn't a perfect translation because some of those words just aren't anymore. But this was basically the conclave, the conference, the meeting where they decided what to do about about Tiamat. There was a big decision to make, and all the gods had to be on board with it.
Have a list.
Well, I mean, you can tell Bahamut, Baori, Balinor, Obatai, Talus and the Ocean Lady, Farlan, Paler at the head of the table, and she goes through, pointing out each of them. I think further down continues the story a bit more. Might give us some clues to where we are.
Oh, wait, would this be a temple
It's a temple to Palor.
A very, very old.
Mm-hmm.
would that have been looking at the sun at any point during a day?
I'm sure he is possibly before we built over it.
Been looking around for anything resembling like maybe the remains of an altar or any sort of thing that would be midday prayer related.
You're going to need to give me a perception check.
All right.
I'll say it's
Yeah,
going to-
cleric is currently rotating and trying to spot things. Natural fucking 20.
Yes, she rotates very briefly until she realizes that would be pointing directly at the floor. So she has to step sideways 1 or 2 steps to look at the spot where she was standing directly under the hole. And again, it's written in Celestial, what little writing there is, but it looks like that was some place to do the small devotions that might have been done in a temple this old if, the previous rulers didn't like Palor being worshipped. And also kind of a clock. It's almost a sundial. You can see the various markings, showing what time of day it would be depending on where the sun was. Do you want that translated?
Very high-pitched, squeaky yes. Not hypersonic, just high-pitched.
The Order of the Mirage. Now, Hazel talked to a couple of holy people recently who explained the different orders or suborders, ways of worshipping Palor. You in fact told Ava that there were many ways to worship Palor, and you remember the knowledge cleric of Tritherion talking about how light lets you see and sometimes tricks the eye.
Cleric has gone apoplectic again and is basically having some kind of a religious meltdown.
Can Remy and Barnabas specifically roll me history? It's Barnabas who remembers, probably because cop. He wasn't just there to fight, because cop. In the Southern Lands, a lot of the time, you got seemingly random people giving some very good information. To you. They were very much on your side, but they were very secretive. And they did not like Palor worship in the Southern Lands. In fact, the whole point of that death cult is they want to kill and eat the sun. But Barnabas had heard... He was close enough in with you get close with the informers. You let them know that you keep helping me, I can look the other way or give you a bit of a shield now and then. He would have actually heard of the Order of the Mirage. They're, as far the best he could tell, they're the kinds of Palor worshippers who will continue to worship Palor even when it's dangerous.
I remember these guys. That whole thing was they worship Palor even or especially when it was dangerous to their health to do so. Some of the informants back in the southern lands were of them.
Yeah, when Barnabas mentions it, Remy's thinking, yeah, no, I never got the name, but I do remember that there were some who were clearly wearing some jewelry, but taking great pains to hide exactly what, in collars, very small on ears, but still wearing what, looking back, may well have been a very modified Palor symbol.
Oh. Huh.
Remove them?
To be fair, not well. They hid very well. But you guys knew them because they tried to help you. Because you were trying to boot out the baddies.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Well, there was a time when this country was served much as Baronsphere was. Palor worship
That's
was
fair.
frowned upon. But this place has pretty much always been run by dragons of some kind or another. The Chromatics weren't fond of Palor worship.
Oh. Yeah, makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, they have their one queen handbag.
But if this was an ancient temple to Palor, it would have been situated someplace where they could spy on troublesome elements. Which is probably why we were sent down here. Which means we could be walking into an old temple to one of the darker gods. Given the situation, it's one of two. Asmodeus or Tiamat.
And that wouldn't be
Is it
surprising.
Oh, weird that I'm actually hoping it's the first one of those two.
Why?
Mostly because that one of the two has a, I guess, reasonability behind it.
Unfortunately, thinking about it, it's more than likely the second, because if they're doing something to that contraption Tansy was talking about, to center it on Tiamat,
Fuck.
but first we need to navigate around this sort of place. If they were hidden as well as you say, I would be expecting a terrible lot of traps.
Triple ultra fuck.
And possibly not just physical or magical either. But we haven't got a great deal of choice. I have a general set of directions, but we'll keep heading in the appropriate direction and try to find where we are, or where we need to go, more to the point. So, that way.
I'm glued to any murals we pass, as I'm
Yeah.
still having religious apoplectic fit.
Yeah, what you're currently seeing is a pictorial representation of one of the oldest myths. The making of the Shattered Lands is one of the oldest myths. You see Zavillan and Raoul making their case for entrapping Tiamat rather than killing her. You see the eagle that found the perfect spot. You see Zavillan dealing with Asmodeus. Because they made a bargain effectively that was them going, okay, you're in hell, you don't like it. How about we give you something to oppress? But the downside is that if you stop being down there, you don't have a god to oppress anymore. So Asmodeus agreed, and the mural that depicts Bahamut slamming Tiamat through a continent, because the others were faded paint. This, by the light of Remy's, whatever Remy cast light on, is done in mosaic, bright enough to catch the light. Which is surprising, because shouldn't there be a terrible lot of dust? Also, you also notice, because it's a wide, curved shot, well, mosaic. You're not in a corridor anymore. You're in a circular room that's got, well, other little corridors radiating off the center. Yours was one of them. And yeah, if you turn around the room, you see, Bahamut slamming Tiamat, Asmodeus chaining Tiamat. The one of the Shattered Lands after that is pretty abstract, but LSA, seeing the expressions on Hazel and Clarity's face, translates that to effectively how the magic between planes, all of the magic, natural, elemental, arcane, celestial, infernal even in some cases, all saturated the fragments of that continent. Which, she adds, is why the Shattered Lands are so weird.
Sheree, you mentioned traps that were not mechanical or magical. What other traps did you move?
As Ava says that, from the various corridors, you hear growling.
Oh boy.
Living.
Joy.
And since we don't have time for that level of fight, we're going to finish here, and when we come back in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have some combat.
Yay.
Cool.
So, I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Lindy or I will talk to you before then about character sheety stuff, because you've been doing a lot of looking around, so maybe that could justify... no, because you still have to drink the potion, so... We have time, but I'll get something sorted. Anyway,
Okay.
see you guys.
All right.